Hey guys, so today we're just gonna be talking about the ban list a little bit. So, all of these cards here were just already on the ban list. Amazoness Archer, yeah. Magical Scientist, all of these were on the ban list, and recently added was Instant Fusion. So, because Instant Fusion was added to the list, I think that actually, let's see, where is he? Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom can come back to 2 or 3. And I don't know why Gearsu specifically is still at 1. Like, is there an FTK you can do with Gearsu? What's wrong with Gearsu? No idea. And then as well, let's see. Water Enchantress of the Temple. Hulk has been banned for quite a while, and this has seen no play. You could bump up Enchantress by 1, probably. Preferably Enchantress, because Enchantress is overall better than the spell, Rite of Aramasir. And that would be completely fine. I do not see an issue with that. I don't know for what reason Dragonic Diagram is still at 1 Dragonic Diagram. I think this eventually will be taken off, but it doesn't really need to be right now. I don't think it particularly matters. Like, there are like probably a single digit amount of people who care about Dragonic Diagram being on the list at all. Well, maybe. I don't know. Terror Top, I'm not sure this needs to be at 1 either, necessarily. I don't think this is, like, that bad, is it? To have multiple, Terror Top. Terror Top could be fine at, like, 2 or 3, honestly. I don't really see an issue with Terror Top, but, like, if you, like, put Terror Top at 3 and, like, Enchantress at 3, that might be a little annoying to deal with, because you can just make a Cherubini, dump Enchantress off of this, and it's just some bodies. But, like, you wouldn't want more than 1 Terratop in hand, so it's like, the package is kind of sizey. I'm not sure how much you do with that, but I don't think it's that degen, so it might be okay. That might need a little bit more research. 1 for 1. You know what, honestly, why is 1 for 1 limited 1? Well, I mean, its name is 1 for 1, which is, you know, but I don't think this card is that disgusting. Like, maybe if you could loop it or something, it might be a little bit, it might be doing a little bit of something, but it has no hard ones per turn. That's the only noteworthy thing about 1 for 1 that I see here. If you use 2 copies of 1 for 1 in your hand, for example, though, that does a little bit of something. Is there a level 1 deck that I should be worried about or something? No clue. Like, a card like One Day of Peace would just be giga annoying if it was at 3, so it's like, I'm alright with that being at 1, personally. Morphing Jar? Why is Morphing Jar at 1? No idea, actually. I feel like the only reason, like, I wouldn't want to see Rhoda at more than 1 is just exactly Rhino Heart. I don't think there's, like, a warrior, like a level 4 lower warrior that I specifically care about. And, like, if you think Rhoda would be, like, insane being at 3, Fossil Dig is at 3, and they still haven't hit that. So it must be fine to some extent, right? Like, I don't know. No clue why Armageddon Knight is at 1 either. I'm trying to think, and I have no real answer for this. But with Instant Fusion gone, I would really like to get copies of at least 1 copy of Supreme Starving Venom back. Not having any is pretty, well, it just sucks, really. maybe we can get Dragoon back when it, well, or at all, whenever Verte is banned. Which I'm hoping happens. Sorry, Better Plant players, but come on. Verte is pretty degen. If you take away Verte and just we can get Dragoon back, I would take that deal any day of the week. I have no idea why Necroface is at 2. Necroface could definitely be a 3, and it would not be that big of a deal. Like, what? Shifter being at 2, I think, is reasonable. Change of Fire being at 2, I don't think that really particularly matters. I don't know why Infernity Launcher, for example, is at 2 though, so no comment on that, I guess. I do know why Orthrus Scorpio is limited at all though. It's literally because of like Brilliant Fusion and FTKs and stuff like that. Why is Cobalt Sparrow still at 2? What's so bad about Cobalt Sparrow? Like, this should not be a 2. This can be a 3. Like, what? Sekka's, like, alright, I guess. Like, Fractal, Aluber, Branded Opening, Analyzer, Long One. Most of these could go back to 3, and it would not be a big deal. But I would prefer, like, specifically if Long One were at 2, just to kind of, like, hurt Sword Soul players because they play Protoss, and no other reason. But I mean, if Protoss got banned, for example, I would not mind seeing Long One back to 3. But, like, Branded Opening and Aluber, I don't know why we need to semi-limit them. For some reason, Branded Opening in the OCG is limited to 1 copy. So I'm not sure why. Maybe we can't actually have Branded Opening back to 3. But I mean, that's for future. But like right now, why do we have to have it at 2? What? I mean, Conk at 2. The only reason I'm okay with, like, Conk isn't like that big of a deal, but they also hit the floodgates in that will like benefit a lot with Elblick, like Rivalry, Skill Drain, Gozen. So like Conk could in theory come back to 3. But at the same time, do you want to play against Elblick? Elblick is very boring to play against in my opinion, so I'm perfectly fine with it being at 2. Kind of same logic for Adamancipator Analyzer. If they ban Block Dragon straight up though, I'd be completely fine with Analyzer going back to 3. No issue whatsoever. In fact, for example, they took, they took, what was his name? Like, Fam Knights of Staingreaves off of the list. So it's back to 3. So, I mean, I don't see any particular reason why, like, Fractal has to be at 2. Like, Tri-Brigade is, like, moderately strong. That's not, like, a super big deal. Lyrilusk, really don't see why, like, this is probably the most questionable card. Like, but it's either, like, Necroface or Cobalt Sparrow, I think, that are, like, extremely questionable why they're on the list right now, in my opinion. I know some people were just doing, like, a funky OTK with, like, Necroface, but it's like, they can't do that OTK going second or anything, and it's not, like, that super consistent going first if you just play some hand traps, which, you know, should be fine, right? In my opinion, Necroface is fine. And it hurts, like, some of the very few banished strategies out there, but I don't know. Probably just not a big deal. And then, isn't this still limited, or am I crazy? Let's see. Checking. Are there no Thunder Dragon cards being limited anymore, or am I crazy? Well, aside from Colossus. Huh. Aren't there any... No. Wait, Thunder Dragons are back? Well, they weren't that good to begin with, and they hit Necroface, which sucks for them, I guess. There's some cards that could definitely come back, like, of course, Yata. Like, Yata is completely fine right now, I guess. Nothing, like, super outrageous here, is there? Dragon Rulers, Eclipse Wyvern, Norden, Blackwing, Steam the Cloak, Monkey Board. Well, I don't know why Kieran is on the ban list, but this is actually a pretty good card against Tier specifically, because it cannot be targeted, meaning that there's no point of interaction that exists for Tier, and they're not affected by Magispectors are not affected by Dwellers. So for that reason alone, I would like to see like Kieran off the list. Unfortunate, I guess. And also, I'd like to see Bamboozling Gossip Shadow taken off the list. Like, I would trade Rongo Miniad for Gossip Shadow, or just have them both, because it's like, they're really not that big of a deal, right? Even together, it's just whatever. Generally, a single hand trap stops Bamboozling Gossip Shadow with Rongo Miniad being on the field together anyway, so it's like, alright. Having no points of interaction, though, sucks if you're playing, like, kaijus and stuff, I guess. That sucks for you, I suppose, but... I just really like Gossip Shadow. Doesn't necessarily have to be played with Rongo. It's a decent card on its own. Totally. Sucks that we can't get the Totally Awesome back. Totally Awesome. Ugh. It does not have a hard once per turn. These are all soft once per turn, so it could only come back to one if at all. And of course, it's playable with both Tier and Spright, so that's probably why I can't come back. Not right now, at least. Which sucks, I guess, for all the Frog and Paleo players out there. Not much we can do about that, though, I suppose. Cold Wave. Pretty degenerate. I think that's most of the cards on the list, right? Yeah. I have no idea why this is limited to one. Sky Striker Mecha Hornet drones. I just noticed it on the list just now. Is someone doing something degen with this? What? No clue. But, like, just in general, I feel like a lot of cards could be taken off the list. Like, for example, Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. This could be at 2 or 3, probably. It unironically feels like it doesn't do a whole lot. I've tried playing it before. It's fine. I mean, maybe they'll take this off. The effect of this card is that soft once per turn. If you have a card in your other Pendulum Zone, you can destroy that card, and if you do, add one card from your deck to your hand with the same name as that card. Like, it doesn't do, like, nothing, but it doesn't feel that impactful, personally. And I just want to play Pendracos, actually, so if you could lift Luster Pendulum and Dragonic Diagram off, that would make me a happy boy, I suppose. But like, yeah. A lot of these cards are fine where they're at, though, I guess. Yeah. I can totally see why Gamma can't come to 3 to an extent, though. I don't know, mixed feelings on all of this. Tikaboo being like a much stronger floodgate than Rivalry and Gozen, though. I'm not sure why that is still at 2. That should probably definitely go to 1, unironically. But some cards like Summon Limit and Lose 1 turn still, I don't think they'll get hit. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything, right? And honestly, Red Reboot could, like in Master Duel format, I don't see why Red Reboot can't be at 3. Like, is Red Reboot that big of a deal? There are a lot of monster-centric strategies, anyways. And this only is good specifically into back row. Aside from that, it's not doing you like a lot of favors. Like, you can technically activate Red Reboot against Sword Soul Blackout, but then if you don't have any way to remove the Blackout and the fresh new set, which is likely to be like an impermanence, then Red Reboot actually doesn't really help you out that much. It's just, yeah. Specifically, if we wanted a really degen kind of format, though, you could put like Red Reboot to 3 and then unlimit Tikaboo, Rivalry, and Gozen as well, if you want to go get a little crazy with it, I suppose. But aside from that, it's just fine. Not really a super big deal. But like, the cards I think need to be actually hit are probably just the Shizu cards. These cards are actually surprisingly degenerate. So the mill cards are honestly fine. I think the primarily disgusting Ishizu cards are the shufflers. Keldo and Mudora are actually just like war crimes. The thing about Keldo and Mudora is that they are not on the field, right? So you can't like negate them with an imperm. If you activate a called by on them, it doesn't do that much for you. Your opponent will just simply shuffle back some of their own cards, or they can just simply let you called by it. Doesn't really matter. Recycle some of their extra deck back or whatever. Put it back in some copies of like Solik or Scream to mill off later to do some searches or whatever. And of course you can't respond to them with Cult By because they banish themselves for cost quick effect. So these are really hard to interact with. Not much you can do. The best way for you to deal with like Keldo and Mudora unironically is just to activate Keldo or Mudora targeting your opponent's Keldo or Mudora. Aside from that, you have nothing. Which is, yeah, that sucks. So you don't really have any ways to interact with Keldo Mudora. Tough luck, I guess. And if your opponent, of course, has Dweller and Keldo Mudora, then there's no hope at all for you. Like, just straight up none. They can shuffle back your Keldos and Mudoras because you're under Dweller, and then they might still have some left over. Which is crazy. Crazy annoying. Makes me almost want to see Dimension Shifter come back to 3. But, I mean, Cherries exists at least, and Cherries is pretty brutal, being able to get rid of Kit Callus. If Kikalos, for example, does get banned though, that puts tier limit at a much lower power level. So they might still go with that approach. I don't know. Kikalos is a pretty disgusting card. So if you just look at it, you add one card, so let's just say +1, alright? And then you can special summon a tier limit card. Or a tier limit monster, I guess. So you'll probably special summon Merly. So that's mill 3, so we'll just count that as +3, alright? That's like +4 already, right? And then, as if that's not enough, Kikalos will if it's sent by effect, that's a mill 5, so that's like +9. Yeah, that's a little kind of unfair. But then they like put like Kikalos's name specifically as a requirement for Rukalos, and I think it was actually just Rukalos. Yeah, so I think that's probably why they actually preemptively hit King of the Swamp. It's probably because they're actually going to ban Kikalos, and they want to limit King of Swamp to 1 to like kind of really neuter tier. So that's weird, a little awkward, but I guess it gets the job done, and that's probably what they're going for. Not really 100% sure if that is the case or not. But let's see, anything else? No, yeah, that's pretty much about everything. There's some like cards that maybe should be hit but haven't been hit. But I mean, it's whatever, I guess. I don't think I see anything particularly super degenerate left. Well, actually, I just can't think of it right now, I suppose, but I mean, personally, I just don't like Runic. You could put Fountain to 1. And the primary reason being that this effect, like, you can't even, like, I don't know how I would describe it, but no hard ones return on Runic Fountain. Yucky. Simply draw 3 multiple times in the same turn. And also Hugin Protect Fountain like a billion times. I would also take Hugin to 1. Well, that might just be my personal bias though. So we'll end it here for today. We'll end it here for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.